Hello, back on track with Monster today, and finished Monster today. I believe this is the last version. I'll give it another few days before rendering the final WAV file, but I think we're done. And there's been quite a dramatic change, or several dramatic changes actually, since the last time. The first one, by far the most significant change to the song. The first verse is entirely a cappella now. I'll explain the reasons for that when we come back. A few changes to the drums, significant upheaval in the mixing situation. Quite a lot has happened to this song since we last spoke. Anyway, let's play it and then we'll come back and figure out what's what.
Down fall the shadows like whispers of lies that poison my poor dark mind. On the winds of these storm-ridden skies, the breath of my ghosts as they rise, breathing softly, leaving no trace. I thrill to the dance of the chase, feel the rhythm matching my stride, and here comes the onrushing tide. Was it ever really me, monster, can you tell? Am I living a dream under your spell? What the darkness asks of me with its lidless eyes helps me dull the pain of their lies. Oh,
So obviously, by far the most important thing to talk about is the a cappella section at the beginning. I didn't like the way the song just launched. There was a tiny little drum roll, and then we were into full song with all of the music, and it just felt like this. Once I'm there from like second number 3, there really wasn't any dramatic development in the song. It didn't feel like it was progressing. And this goes right back to the very beginnings of the song. It was written lyrics first, and I basically wrote all of the music to match the lyrics. So from the very beginning, the song starts with lyrics, and never did anything about it. So rather than tag on a bit of instrumental music at the front, which would have felt forced at this point, I went the opposite way and took all of the instruments away and just left the voice on its own. And it's so well sung that it can stand on its own. And then spent the greatest number of hours, just, way too long, basically figuring out how FabFilter Timeless all hangs together. So this is the effect that's giving that doubling sound. And the second syllable of the song, let's get it running again, I really, really like.
Down fall the shadows like whispers of lies that poison my poor dark mind.
That's really good. That's really, really good. I like that a lot. Because it has that sense of, the where you double take and you suddenly look around your shoulders to see who's there. So yeah, creepy and exactly what I wanted. And then it was a case of keeping on dialing it back until the effect still worked, but it wasn't absolutely a wash. I've literally been through every single preset, out of the box preset in Timeless, to get an idea of what the thing can do. So rather than approach it from the perspective of, twiddle the knobs and see how it goes from that way, I would just listen to all of the different presets and built up every one that I came across that I thought, oh, that's interesting. I saved them all. So now I have a pre-built kind of starter suite of interesting effects. This is really for those slightly more filtered or esoteric kind of delay sounds. The filter on it sounds really very nice indeed, and I've actually left a little bit of it behind when we go into the full song. So this is the point at which the song starts, and you can see that it's at minus 29 dB, but nevertheless there is a little bit of Timeless throughout the entire song. It helps glue the early part together, but then it sounded good with just that little bit of colour in, so I left it. The next bit that I had to deal with, being so focused on the vocals, and that's the only thing to listen to, I had to get the breaths absolutely right, because when we're recording this stuff, Pauline will take a deep breath and then sing the next phrase, and so just sculpting those to get them sounding exactly as I wanted meant lots of individual work on the volume track for the vocals. So you can see much more focused when it's a cappella, where it's really, really important. But throughout the entire song, I've actually, given some thought to each one of those breaths just to make them absolutely sit exactly where I want them to. And lots of this idea of, right, let's listen to the vocals and the harmonies completely on their own, do that. Now then, let's listen to the main vocals and the bass line on its own, let's do that. Let's listen to the drums and the vocals on its own, let's do that. The first time I played this song back to Pauline, I was really playing it from the context of, listen to the a cappella section, I'm really excited about it. And I made a video last week called The Most Important Rule of Songwriting, in which I said, spoiler alert, the most important rule of songwriting is make music that makes you happy. And that video came out of a conversation about this song. The whole idea for making that video at all came from an observation that Pauline made about this song, when she said, well, the rhythm's too complicated, I can't really follow it. And it turns out that she was referring to the variation between triplet time and straight time that this song employs. And when I went back and listened to the rhythm completely on its own, I decided that the hi-hats and the ride were too cluttered, and I discussed it in greater detail in that other video, so I'll put a link into that. But basically I ended up deleting all of the hats and ride off the BFD kit. And the reason I did that and switched to Groove Agent is because this is step one in a migration from BFD to Groove Agent. I am sacking BFD. I can't get it to render properly, no matter how hard I try, put it in offline mode, reboot my PC, have Cubase the only application that's running. No matter what I try to do, it's not getting the drum sounds right. It's cutting the sample short. I could probably drill deeper and deeper into Cubase to try to find out, because I've tried every single preset in BFD. There's nothing left there. So the only thing that I could do at this point would be to go into Cubase to try to see what render options I can set in there to make it work. But at the end of the day, it just pissed me off. Thought no other VST gives me this trouble. I don't have to go into offline mode or have all of these caveats, or if you want to render, make sure you do all of these things. Groove Agent does it without blinking. And actually, when I was starting to think, right, I'm becoming increasingly unhappy with BFD's interface, its clunkiness, the difficulty in importing samples into it, the whole thing is just kind of annoying me a little bit too much. And this is in the context of, well, I've spent money on this thing, I want to make it work. I really have put a lot of effort into configuring BFD exactly how I want. It's just pissed me off once too often. So I went to Groove Agent and said, right, show me what your acoustic kits can do. So lots of YouTube videos later, and some of the acoustic kits in Groove Agent are absolutely every bit as good as the BFD stuff. So I closed my eyes, got my bank card out, and bought all the acoustic expansions that I didn't previously have. And I've built, over the past week or so, I've built drum maps for every one of them. And so I'm going to begin the process of just adopting Groove Agent as my primary drum engine of choice. I'm going to go deep and really get to know it intimately, because it's so baked into Cubase. It makes sense, if I'm going to put that amount of effort into a drum module, that Groove Agent is the one that I go for. Really simple. There's nothing, particularly but it's now this kind of bed, this nice stable bed of hats in the background. Previously there were gaps and unnecessary complications that just cluttered the sound and made it unnecessarily obtuse. Multi-saw phaser is no longer there, so an entire sound was just abandoned entirely. I said entirely twice. Kind of, it's very nice, it's a very nice sound, but I took it out and didn't miss it, so I didn't put it back in. And the solo used to have an amplitude plug-in on it, and it no longer does. A couple of filtering effects. I've got the Simplon and Volcano, adding a bit of colour to the sound, but I figured that it was recorded live using my Fender Twin with some pedals, and that was the sound it generated, and I loved it. So why am I sticking an amplitude effect over the top? None of them were actually improving the sound, so I just took them away. So that epiphany moment of throwing a load of music away at the beginning of the song has then kind of had a ripple effect throughout the whole of it. How do we make it simpler? Why am I not happy with the sound? Why is it sounding cluttered? Strip all of those things away, and you know what? Underneath is a song that I really like and I'm really proud of. So there we go, Monster, done. Get this one rendered and out and onto the next project. And if you're good enough to subscribe to my channel and hit notifications, then you'll find out what the new project entails. Hope to see you then. Thanks very much for watching.